There is a quiet truth the modern wellness industry does not want you to fully understand. Fermented foods are extraordinary. They are real medicine, but they are not the whole story, and they were never meant to be. The ancient world that gave us sauerkraut and kefir and miso was operating inside a much larger system of gut healing, built across thousands of years of careful observation by people whose survival depended on getting it right. They understood something modern medicine is only now beginning to remember. The gut is not just a tube that processes food, it is the foundation of immunity, the seat of mood, the primary interface between the body and everything that enters it. While the modern world hands you probiotic capsules and tells you that one supplement will fix your digestion, the ancient world had a layered, intelligent approach. They had foods, herbs, broths, fasting protocols, and behavioral practices that worked together to repair, reset, and restore the gut from the inside out. Many of these practices have been almost completely forgotten in the West, replaced by bottles of pills that target single mechanisms while ignoring the system entirely. Today, we are counting down 15 ancient gut healing secrets that go beyond fermented foods. Pay close attention to number 1 because most people have never even heard of it, and yet researchers studying it now describe its effects on the gut lining as remarkable. And when we get to number 7, I am going to share a healing protocol described in an ancient text that, when read through the lens of modern gastroenterology, looks startlingly like a clinical treatment plan for what we now call leaky gut syndrome. Stay with me until the end, because the final principle I leave you with explains why most people who try probiotics never feel better and what they are missing. Number 15, bone broth, the original gut repair protocol. Long before collagen powders and gut healing supplements lined the shelves of health stores, there was bone broth, slow simmered for 12 to 48 hours over low heat, made from the bones, joints, and connective tissue of animals. It was the foundational healing food across virtually every traditional culture. Chinese medicine used it for centuries to tonify the kidneys and build blood. Jewish tradition called it the medicine of the elderly and the sick. French peasant cooking built entire cuisines around the daily stockpot that never stopped simmering. What every one of those cultures understood empirically is now being mapped at the molecular level. Bone broth, when made properly, is rich in glycine, proline, glutamine, and gelatin. These are the exact amino acids the gut lining uses to repair itself. The intestinal wall is made of cells that turn over every 3 to 5 days, and those cells require specific building blocks to regenerate. Glutamine has been the subject of extensive research, with studies showing it directly supports the integrity of the tight junctions between intestinal cells, the very junctions that fail when leaky gut develops. The collagen and gelatin in real bone broth coat the gut lining, providing both nutrients and structural support during healing. Studies have shown that gelatin supplementation reduces intestinal permeability and supports recovery from inflammatory bowel conditions. The minerals leached from the bones during long simmering, calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, potassium, are delivered in a highly bioavailable form the body can actually absorb. Here is the preparation detail most people miss. The broth must simmer for a minimum of 12 hours, ideally 24 to 48, to fully extract the gelatin and minerals. The addition of 1 to 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar at the start helps draw the minerals out of the bone matrix. When the broth cools and gels into a wobbly jelly, that is your sign it was made correctly. Watery broth means the collagen never extracted. Drink 1 cup daily on an empty stomach. The grandmothers who made this for their sick families were not being sentimental. They were being precisely correct. Number 14, slippery elm bark, the demulcent that coats and heals. In the medical traditions of Native American tribes across the eastern woodlands, slippery elm was considered one of the most important medicines in the entire pharmacopoeia. The inner bark, when ground and mixed with water, produces a thick mucilaginous substance that early American colonists learned to use as both food and medicine. It was given to the dying when nothing else would stay down. It was given to infants who could not tolerate other foods. The biochemistry behind slippery elm is genuinely elegant. The inner bark contains polysaccharides that, when mixed with liquid, form a gel-like substance called mucilage. This mucilage coats the entire digestive tract, from the throat down through the stomach and into the intestines, providing a protective barrier over inflamed or damaged tissue. It is one of the most effective demulcents in the plant kingdom. For anyone dealing with acid reflux, gastritis, ulcers, IBS, or any inflammatory gut condition, slippery elm provides immediate symptomatic relief while simultaneously supporting tissue repair. Studies have documented its effects on reducing inflammation in the gut lining, supporting healthy bowel movements, and providing prebiotic fuel for beneficial gut bacteria as the polysaccharides are gradually fermented. Mix 1 teaspoon of slippery elm powder into warm water or milk, stir well, and drink slowly. Take it 20 to 30 minutes before meals for digestive support, or before bed for soothing overnight repair. Within days of consistent use, most people notice a substantial reduction in digestive discomfort. Number 13. Ginger, the digestive fire from ancient medicine. Ginger is one of the few plants that appears in nearly every traditional medical system that ever existed. Ayurvedic medicine called it the universal medicine and prescribed it for digestive complaints of every kind. Traditional Chinese medicine considered it essential for warming the digestive fire. Greek and Roman physicians wrote extensively about its effects on the stomach. The convergence is striking, and modern research validates it almost completely. Ginger contains a family of bioactive compounds, primarily gingerols, shogols, and zingerone, that work through multiple mechanisms simultaneously. They stimulate the production of digestive enzymes and bile, improving the breakdown of food, particularly fats and proteins. They accelerate gastric emptying, meaning food moves through the stomach more efficiently. They reduce nausea through effects on serotonin receptors in the gut, with results so consistent that ginger is now recommended in clinical settings for chemotherapy-induced nausea and pregnancy-related morning sickness. Recent research has identified additional mechanisms. Ginger has direct antimicrobial activity against several gut pathogens, including H. pylori. It modulates inflammation in the gut lining through effects on inflammatory cytokines. And it appears to support a healthier balance of gut bacteria, with some studies suggesting prebiotic-like effects on beneficial species. The traditional preparation that has worked for millennia is fresh ginger tea. Slice 1 inch of fresh ginger root, simmer it in 2 cups of water for 10 to 15 minutes, and drink it warm before or after meals. The dried powder works in a pinch, but is significantly less potent than the fresh root. Avoid the candied versions saturated in sugar, which defeat the medicinal purpose entirely. Number 12. Triphala, the 3-fruit formula of Ayurveda. In the Ayurvedic medical tradition of India, which spans over 3,000 years of continuous practice, there is one preparation considered so foundational that it appears in nearly every classical text on health and longevity. It is called triphala, meaning 3 fruits, and it consists of equal parts amalaki, bibitaki, and haritaki, 3 fruits that grow across the Indian subcontinent and have been used together as a single formulation for thousands of years. The Ayurvedic understanding of triphala is that it does not force the body to do anything. It restores the body's own intelligence, particularly in the digestive system. Modern research has confirmed this in remarkable ways. Triphala has been shown to support healthy bowel movements without creating dependency, the opposite of how most laxatives work. It has demonstrated antioxidant effects in the gut lining that researchers describe as among the most potent measured from any plant preparation. It supports the growth of beneficial gut bacteria while suppressing pathogenic strains. The Amalaki fruit contains one of the highest concentrations of vitamin C found in any food. The bibitake contributes compounds that support liver function and bile flow, which directly affects digestion. The haritaki has been studied for its effects on intestinal motility. Together, the three create a synergistic effect that no single fruit produces alone. Take 1/2 teaspoon of triphala powder mixed in warm water, ideally before bed on an empty stomach. The taste is genuinely challenging the first time. Sour, bitter, and astringent all at once, which is part of its therapeutic action according to Ayurvedic theory. Most people who use it consistently for 2 to 4 weeks report dramatically improved digestion. Number 11. Apple pectin and cooked apples, the ancient childhood remedy. Long before pediatric medicine existed, mothers and grandmothers across Europe and the Middle East knew that cooked apples were the medicine of choice for any child with digestive trouble. An apple a day keeps the doctor away is not just a quaint saying. It is the residue of medical knowledge that has been validated repeatedly by modern research. Cooked apples release a soluble fiber called pectin in a form dramatically more bioavailable than in the raw fruit. Pectin is a prebiotic of unusual quality. It feeds beneficial gut bacteria, particularly Bifidobacterium and Lactobacillus species, leading to increased production of short-chain fatty acids, especially butyrate, which is the primary fuel source for the cells lining the colon. Higher butyrate levels are associated with reduced inflammation, stronger gut barrier function, and a lower risk of colon cancer in long-term studies. But pectin does something else genuinely fascinating. It binds to heavy metals and certain toxins in the gut, facilitating their elimination through the stool rather than allowing them to be reabsorbed. Studies have shown apple pectin reduces lead absorption, supports the elimination of certain pesticide residues, and may bind to some bile acids in ways that lower cholesterol over time. The traditional preparation is simply this. Take 2 apples, peel and core them, slice them into chunks, and simmer them in a small amount of water with a stick of cinnamon for 15 to 20 minutes until soft. The cooking process breaks down the cell walls and releases the pectin in its most usable form. Eat this once daily, particularly during periods of digestive upset or after antibiotic use. Number 10. Wormwood and bitter herbs, the forgotten appetizers. There is a category of plants the modern world has almost entirely abandoned, despite the fact that they were considered essential to digestive health for thousands of years. They are the bitter herbs, plants like wormwood, gentian, dandelion root, and burdock, that taste sharp and challenging, but trigger a cascade of digestive responses that modern processed foods almost never activate. The mechanism is elegant and worth understanding. Bitter compounds bind to receptors on the tongue, in the stomach, and in the intestines, triggering a reflex called the bitter response. This reflex stimulates the production of saliva, stomach acid, digestive enzymes, and bile, preparing the entire digestive tract to receive food properly. Modern diets, dominated by sweet, salty, and fatty flavors, almost never activate this reflex. The result is that millions of people eat without producing adequate digestive secretions, leading to bloating, incomplete protein breakdown, mineral malabsorption, and the sensation of food sitting heavy in the stomach. Traditional European medicine, particularly the monastic medical traditions of medieval Europe, built entire pharmacopoeias around bitter herb preparations. The aperitif tradition, drinking a small amount of bitter liquor before a meal, is the cultural residue of this medical practice. Modern research has confirmed that bitter compounds activate the vagus nerve, improve gastric emptying, and support healthy bile flow from the gallbladder, which is essential for fat digestion. The simplest application is digestive bitters, tinctures of bitter herbs in alcohol or glycerin. Take 5 to 10 drops on the tongue 10 to 15 minutes before a meal. The bitter taste is the medicine. Do not mask it with sweetener. Within minutes, you will feel the digestive system activate. This is one of the most underused interventions in modern wellness. Number 9. Aloe vera inner leaf, the desert medicine. Aloe vera has been used medicinally for over 4,000 years, with documented references in ancient Egyptian, Greek, Roman, Chinese, and Ayurvedic medical texts. Cleopatra reportedly used it for skincare. Alexander the Great supposedly conquered an island specifically to secure its aloe supply for his armies. The Egyptians called it the plant of immortality. The convergence across cultures suggests what they recognized was real. The inner gel of the aloe leaf, the clear mucilaginous substance found beneath the outer skin, contains over 75 active compounds, including polysaccharides called eicosanonin, vitamins, minerals, enzymes, and amino acids. For gut health specifically, the polysaccharides are the primary actors. Eicosanonin has been studied for its effects on the gut lining, with research suggesting it supports the integrity of intestinal cells, modulates inflammation, and may help repair damage from conditions like ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease. Studies on aloe vera juice for IBS have shown significant reductions in symptoms, including bloating, abdominal pain, and irregular bowel movements. The polysaccharides also feed beneficial gut bacteria while having mild antimicrobial effects against certain pathogens. Here is the critical preparation detail most sources get wrong. The outer skin and the yellow latex layer just beneath it contain anthraquinones that are powerful laxatives and can be irritating with regular use. What you want is the clear inner gel only. Drink 1 to 2 ounces of pure inner leaf aloe vera juice 20 minutes before meals. Look for products labeled inner leaf or decolorized. Number 8. Fennel seeds, the post-meal practice of empires. Across India, the Middle East, and parts of the Mediterranean, there is a tradition that has continued unbroken for over 2,000 years. After a meal, particularly a heavy or spicy one, a small bowl of fennel seeds is offered to chew. In Indian restaurants worldwide, this practice persists today, often combined with crystallized sugar and other spices into a preparation called mukhwas. It is treated as a quaint cultural habit. It is in fact one of the most precise digestive interventions ever developed. Fennel seeds contain volatile oils, primarily anethol, fenchone, and estragol, that have specific and powerful effects on the digestive system. Anethol is a potent carminative, meaning it relaxes the smooth muscle of the gastrointestinal tract and helps release trapped gas. This is why people who chew fennel after meals report dramatic reductions in bloating and gas pressure, often within minutes. The oils also stimulate the production of digestive enzymes and bile, supporting the breakdown of fats and proteins. Modern research has documented additional benefits. Fennel has antimicrobial activity against several gut pathogens, including some strains of Candida. It has antispasmodic effects that have been studied in IBS patients with positive results. And it contains compounds that support healthy estrogen metabolism, which is why traditional medicine prescribed it for women's digestive complaints particularly. The simplest application is the traditional one. Chew half a teaspoon of whole fennel seeds slowly after meals, particularly meals that feel heavy. Alternatively, steep 1 teaspoon of seeds in a cup of hot water for 10 minutes to make a digestive tea. This practice costs almost nothing, has been used continuously for 2,000 years, and works as well as most over-the-counter digestive aids on the market today. Number 7. The ancient fasting protocol described in Daniel. And here we arrive at the protocol I promised you at the beginning. Stay with me, because this one connects ancient wisdom to modern gastroenterology in a way that is genuinely remarkable. In the book of Daniel, chapter 1, the young prophet Daniel and his companions, taken into the Babylonian court, refused to eat the rich food and wine of the king's table. Instead, they request a 10-day trial during which they will eat only pulses, meaning legumes, vegetables, and seeds, and drink only water. At the end of the 10 days, the text records that they appeared healthier and better nourished than all the young men eating the king's rich diet. For thousands of years, this passage was read as a story of faith and spiritual discipline. Modern gut research suggests there is something profoundly biological underneath it. A simple plant-based water-only protocol for 10 to 21 days is, in functional medicine terms, an elimination diet combined with a gut reset. It removes the most common irritants of the modern gut: processed foods, alcohol, refined sugar, dairy in some traditions, and replaces them with high-fiber plants that feed beneficial bacteria and support the gut lining. The science of what happens during such a protocol is increasingly well documented. Within 72 hours of removing inflammatory foods, the gut microbiome begins to shift. Beneficial bacteria that thrive on plant fiber multiply. Inflammatory species that thrive on sugar and processed fat begin to decline. The gut lining, which turns over every 3 to 5 days, has the opportunity to rebuild without being constantly assaulted by irritants. Inflammatory markers in the blood drop measurably within 10 to 14 days. Insulin sensitivity improves. Energy stabilizes. The protocol does not need to be religious to be effective. Choose 10 to 21 days. Eat only legumes, vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, and whole grains. Drink only water and herbal teas. Eliminate alcohol, caffeine, processed foods, refined sugar, and meat for the duration. The gut transformation that occurs is comparable to interventions that cost thousands of dollars in functional medicine clinics. If this kind of ancient and modern integration speaks to you, hit like and subscribe, because what is coming next goes even deeper. Number 6. Warm water with lemon, the simplest ritual. There is a morning practice that appears across multiple traditional medical systems with such consistency that its near universal recommendation cannot be dismissed as coincidence. Ayurvedic medicine prescribes warm water with lemon as the first thing consumed each morning. Traditional Chinese medicine recommends warm water on rising to support the digestive fire. Mediterranean and Middle Eastern traditions include similar morning rituals. The mechanism is simpler than you might expect, and that simplicity is precisely the point. Warm water on an empty stomach gently stimulates peristalsis, the wave-like muscular contractions that move material through the digestive tract. After hours of overnight fasting, the gut is essentially dormant. Warm water awakens it. The lemon, beyond its vitamin C content, provides citric acid that mildly stimulates bile flow and digestive secretions, preparing the system for the day's first meal. Modern research has found that adequate hydration in the morning, before coffee or food, supports healthy bowel function, reduces constipation, and may even mildly support metabolic activation through a phenomenon called water-induced thermogenesis. Drink 1 cup of warm, not hot, water with the juice of half a fresh lemon, ideally 15 to 30 minutes before any other food or drink. The temperature matters. Cold water on an empty stomach can constrict and slow digestion. Warm water gently activates. This costs nothing, takes 2 minutes, and over months and years contributes meaningfully to digestive regularity. Number 5. Psyllium husk, the desert plant that changed medicine. In the ancient medical traditions of Persia, India, and the Middle East, there is a small seed husk that has been used for digestive complaints for over 1,000 years. It comes from the Plantago ovata plant and is known today as psyllium. Modern fiber supplements are essentially repackaged psyllium husk, but the traditional preparation and use are far more nuanced than the supplement aisle suggests. Psyllium is unusual among fibers because it is both soluble and insoluble simultaneously. It absorbs water and forms a gel-like mass that bulks the stool and supports healthy elimination. But it also feeds beneficial gut bacteria as it ferments slowly through the colon. This dual action is why it works for both constipation and loose stools, a paradox that confuses many people but reflects its genuine balancing effect on bowel function. Studies on psyllium are unusually robust. It has been shown to lower LDL cholesterol meaningfully, improve glycemic control in diabetic patients, support healthy blood pressure, and reduce symptoms of IBS in both diarrhea predominant and constipation predominant subtypes. The American Heart Association recognizes psyllium as one of the few fibers with strong evidence for cardiovascular benefit, a recommendation that aligns precisely with what Persian physicians were prescribing 900 years ago. The preparation matters more than people realize. Mix 1 teaspoon of psyllium husk into a full 8-ounce glass of water, stir vigorously, and drink immediately before it gels too thickly. Follow it with another full glass of water. Inadequate water with psyllium can be genuinely problematic, as the gel needs hydration to move properly through the gut. Take it once or twice daily, ideally between meals. Number 4. Saffron and turmeric, the golden roots of gut repair. Two of the most expensive spices in human history, saffron from the crocus flower and turmeric from the rhizome of the curcuma plant, share a deep golden color and a long medicinal history that has only recently begun to receive serious scientific attention. Persian medicine prescribes saffron for melancholy and digestive complaints. Ayurvedic and traditional Chinese medicine use turmeric for inflammation, wound healing, and digestive disorders for thousands of years. Turmeric contains curcumin, one of the most studied natural compounds in modern research, with thousands of peer-reviewed papers documenting its effects on inflammation. For gut health specifically, curcumin has been shown to reduce inflammation in the intestinal lining, support healthy bile flow, and protect against ulcer formation. Studies in inflammatory bowel disease patients have shown curcumin can reduce symptoms and support remission, with results researchers describe as comparable to certain pharmaceutical interventions. Saffron contains crocin, safranal, and picrocrocin, compounds with documented antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects. Recent research suggests saffron may support the gut-brain axis, the bidirectional communication system between the gut and the central nervous system, with implications for both digestive health and mental well-being. The traditional preparation that maximizes both spices is golden milk. Warm 1 cup of milk, whisk in half a teaspoon of turmeric powder, a pinch of black pepper, which dramatically increases curcumin absorption, and a few threads of saffron. Add a small amount of fat such as ghee or coconut oil to further enhance absorption, since both compounds are fat-soluble. Drink this once daily, ideally in the evening. Number 3. Chamomile and peppermint, the gentle nerve calmers. The connection between the nervous system and the gut is one of the most important discoveries of modern gastroenterology, but it was understood intuitively by traditional medicine for thousands of years. Chamomile and peppermint, two of the most widely used herbal teas in the Western world, were not chosen for their pleasant taste alone. They were selected over centuries for their ability to calm the gut by way of calming the nervous system, and to calm the nervous system by way of calming the gut. Chamomile, used since ancient Egyptian times and prescribed by Greek and Roman physicians, contains compounds called apigenin and bisabolol that have documented anti-inflammatory and antispasmodic effects on the digestive tract. Studies have shown chamomile reduces symptoms of indigestion, supports the healing of gastric ulcers, and provides mild sedation that helps with the kind of gut tension that anxiety creates. Peppermint contains menthol, which has direct antispasmodic effects on the smooth muscle of the intestines. Multiple clinical trials have shown that enteric-coated peppermint oil reduces IBS symptoms, with effectiveness comparable to certain pharmaceutical antispasmodics, but with a dramatically better safety profile. The simple tea, less concentrated than the oil, still provides meaningful symptomatic relief for bloating, gas, and digestive discomfort. Steep 1 tablespoon of dried chamomile flowers or 1 tablespoon of fresh or dried peppermint leaves in a cup of hot water for 10 minutes, covered to retain the volatile oils. Drink it warm, ideally after meals or before bed. The act of pausing to drink a cup of tea is itself part of the medicine, activating the parasympathetic nervous system and supporting the rest and digest state in which healing actually occurs. Number 2, soaked and sprouted grains and legumes, the forgotten preparation. Across virtually every traditional culture that built its food supply around grains and legumes, there was a preparation step the modern world has almost entirely abandoned. Grains were soaked overnight before cooking. Legumes were sprouted, fermented, or soaked for extended periods before being prepared. Nuts and seeds were rinsed and sometimes soaked before consumption. None of this was decorative. It was essential preparation that made the food digestible and nutritious. The reason is biochemical and was completely unknown to those traditional cooks. Grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds contain compounds called phytates, lectins, and enzyme inhibitors that protect the seed in nature but interfere with digestion and mineral absorption when consumed. Phytates bind to minerals like zinc, iron, calcium, and magnesium, preventing their absorption. Lectins can irritate the gut lining and contribute to permeability issues. Enzyme inhibitors interfere with the body's ability to break down proteins and starches efficiently. Soaking, sprouting, and fermenting all activate the seed's natural enzymes, which break down these anti-nutrients. Studies have shown that proper soaking of legumes for 12 to 24 hours can reduce phytate content by 50% or more. Sprouting reduces it further and increases the bioavailability of certain vitamins and amino acids. Traditional preparation methods that took the better part of a day were not inefficiency. They were food chemistry being applied without anyone needing to understand why it worked. The practical application is straightforward. Soak beans overnight before cooking, rinsing thoroughly and discarding the soaking water. Soak grains like brown rice, oats, and quinoa for at least 8 hours. Soak nuts and seeds for 4 to 12 hours, then dry them before storage. The difference in digestive comfort and mineral absorption is meaningful, particularly for anyone who has experienced bloating or sluggish digestion after eating these foods. Number 1. Silence, rest, and chewing, the lost foundation. And here is the secret: nearly every single person reading this needs more than they need any food, herb, or supplement on this list. It is also the one that requires no purchase, no preparation, and no exotic ingredient. It is silence, rest, and thorough chewing during meals. It sounds almost insultingly simple. It is also, according to modern gastroenterology, perhaps the single most powerful gut intervention available to most modern people. The digestive system is governed by the autonomic nervous system, specifically the parasympathetic branch, often called the rest and digest mode. When you eat under stress, while working, while scrolling, while standing, while driving, you are eating in sympathetic dominance, the fight or flight mode. In this state, blood is shunted away from the digestive organs to the muscles. Stomach acid production is suppressed. Digestive enzymes are inadequately released. Intestinal motility becomes erratic. Food is, in a real biochemical sense, not properly processed. Traditional cultures across the world built elaborate rituals around meals, not for cultural performance, but because they understood that the state in which food is consumed determines whether it nourishes or burdens the body. Long meals, conversation, gratitude practices, sitting down, taking time, all activated the parasympathetic state in which actual digestion occurs. The modern habit of eating in 8 minutes between meetings is, from a digestive standpoint, almost a guarantee of poor outcomes regardless of how perfect the food itself might be. Chewing matters more than people realize. Each bite should be chewed 20 to 30 times until it is essentially liquefied before swallowing. This breaks down food mechanically, mixes it thoroughly with saliva, which contains the first digestive enzymes, and signals the stomach and intestines to prepare for what is coming. Most people chew 5 to 10 times and swallow large pieces that the stomach struggles to break down. The bloating and discomfort that follow are not mysterious. They are mechanical. The practice is this. Sit down to eat. Put away the phone. Take 3 breaths before the first bite. Chew each bite thoroughly. Pause between bites. Allow 20 to 30 minutes for a meal rather than rushing through it. This costs nothing, requires no special foods, and produces digestive improvements that often surpass what supplements can achieve. The ancients knew this. We forgot. The remembering is the medicine. The one principle that explains why probiotics often fail. There is one principle that ties every item on this list together, and it is the most important thing I can leave you with. Most people who try probiotic supplements never feel meaningfully better. They take the capsules for weeks or months, see modest changes, if any, and conclude that probiotics do not work for them. The truth is more layered than that. Depositing beneficial bacteria into a gut whose lining is damaged, whose enzymes are inadequate, whose digestive nervous system is in chronic stress, and whose food is being inadequately broken down, is like planting seeds in poisoned soil. The seeds may be excellent. The conditions for them to thrive simply do not exist. The ancient world understood gut healing as a system, not as a single intervention. They repaired the lining with bone broth and slippery elm. They activated digestion with bitters and ginger. They supported elimination with psyllium and triphala. They calmed the nervous system with chamomile and peppermint. They prepared food properly through soaking and sprouting. They ate in states of rest. Only inside this larger system did fermented foods and other probiotic sources actually succeed in colonizing and building lasting gut health. This is why most modern wellness interventions, no matter how scientifically sound the individual components may be, often produce disappointing results. They isolate one mechanism while ignoring the system. Look at this list and recognize what it represents. It is not a menu of options to choose from. It is a layered system that supports the gut from multiple angles simultaneously. Start with the foundation. Eat in a calm state. Chew thoroughly. Drink warm water in the morning. Add bone broth a few times a week. Soak your grains and legumes. Then layer in the herbs and bitters that match your specific needs. Then, and only then, the fermented foods and probiotics you take will find a healthy environment in which to actually do their work. The question we are sitting with is this: are you trying to fix your gut with one product, or are you willing to rebuild the system that the ancient world quietly maintained for thousands of years? Start with one practice from this list this week. Add another next week. Build it slowly, the way every traditional culture built it. If this kind of conversation is meaningful to you, please hit like and subscribe, and share this with someone who has been struggling with gut health. Leave a comment telling me which one of these 15 practices surprised you most, or which one you are already doing without realizing its full importance. Tell me what you would like to explore next. I read every single comment. New content comes out every single week, and we are just getting started.